Okay. Brother Abdul Rauf, he asked a question about the starting of Ramadan. He's going to be leaving India, going to Saudi Arabia. Of course, Saudi Arabia will start on one day, like he says, and India will probably start on a different day, probably a day later, he's saying. What do I do? Do I catch the first of Ramadan in Saudi Arabia? What do I do? Start fasting in India?
You begin fasting with the local place where you are at. Similarly, you end up your fasting according to the local place where you are at, even if you began differently. If you happen to be in India and they start fasting as of today, then you should fast with them. But if they are not fasting and they could not sight the moon, or today is the complete of the month of Sha'ban, you follow them as well. Then when you go to the final destination, you follow them as far as you're there, and as long as you're there, until they finish fasting. If you remain with them and you are fasting with them less than 28 days or so, so in this condition, you complete afterward. But on the Eid day, you must break your fast with them. So you begin fasting where you are at, and you break your fast wherever you are at.
Jazakallah Shaykh for all your answers today.